During the March speech, the German Trade Union Confederation loses its temper. How can a chancellor have such audacity and give a speech like that? That was a slap in the face for every worker here in Germany. This man is done, completely done. Nobody wants to see him here anymore. And what exactly he said, I'll give you a preview right now.
This package demands something from everyone. Everyone, ladies and gentlemen, everyone has to do their part. Service providers, manufacturers, insured persons, employers, and health insurers.
But let's be honest, of course, politicians don't have to do anything at all. They can devote themselves to even higher allowances, thinking about how they can further hassle these taxpayers. After that, the rest of Friedrich Merz's speech completely escalated. And of course, I'm always happy when he steps out of his bunker to meet normal German people, he gets an answer like that. And this time, it really wasn't nice. And I'm just happy for him. I hope he finally arrives in reality. If you'd like to support this channel, I'd really appreciate a like and a subscription.
We, ladies and gentlemen, are limiting spending in all areas. We make sure that insured individuals are not unreasonably burdened. And also, ladies and gentlemen, the contribution-funded co-insurance system will basically remain, but it will be modified.
Yes, that drives people up the wall. Why? Let me explain it to you very briefly. So, of course, that remains, but only if, for example, your family members live abroad. Then that's no problem at all. Receiving Bürgergeld, for example, isn't a problem, while the German taxpayer has to support Bürgergeld recipients even more anyway. However, the taxpayer then no longer has the right, for example, when the child is about 7 years old, to continue being covered under the family health insurance plan. Then the lazy employee should just go to work and leave the children at home alone. Of course, here in Germany, if you've been following inflation today, it has now gone up to 2.9%. Economic growth keeps stagnating, new jobs are not being created, and people are going on short-time work. Then it's just a pure attack on the actual taxpayer, on no one else. And of course, the German Trade Union Confederation knows that too. This is not about saving money. This is only about one thing, taking even more money from the German taxpayer. After all, he has it. I don't know, how do you feel when you hear something like that, when he says something like that, which of course he has wonderfully disguised? Only the union members know exactly what he's talking about.
After all, the toughest challenge will certainly be the reform of the statutory pension insurance. And ladies and gentlemen, none of this is out of malice from me or from the federal government. Yes, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen.
When will Friedrich Merz finally understand that he's done, that nobody wants to see him here anymore, and that he should finally retire? As far as I'm concerned, he can keep all the money. And if he resigns today, I would even support not taking any criminal action against this man, that this should be offered to him again today. This person is completely finished. When it came to pensions, German union members also realized that this person is obsolete. This person just needs to go. It's not out of malice on my part to reform the pension system. It's not out of malice on my part to hand out money around the world. It's not out of malice to continue promoting climate ideological nonsense that has now been proven to clog up our energy grids. And I'm simply referring to a global report that clearly stated that this whole solar power business, all these wind turbines, are being subsidized to the highest degree, where the money is missing from other budgets, clogging up these energy grids, and he just keeps going like that. Everyone there knows it. This person is throwing money out the window and at the same time wants to save money at the expense of the citizens again. They're slowly getting fed up with it too.
That's demographics and mathematics. And it's simply too much for two contributors if they're supposed to finance one person in retirement in the future.
Did you hear it? Lies. This chancellor is lying. They threw it in his face again, and slowly this person is starting to face reality. And that's the reality of Germany. It has nothing to do with mathematics. It has to do with the fact that these politicians are just lining their own pockets. And they're doing it to the extreme. And by now, everyone here knows it. And if this whole propaganda show didn't escalate like that, a lot more people would be ready to just vote for an end to it. The end of the CDU and SPD, and they would put pressure on them. However, well, half of this workers' union, and I really looked into it, these unions are basically based on making sure you're afraid of the AfD, that you should never vote for them. And the indoctrination worked. No one there actually knew that there was an alternative. And that is an alternative to this government. And that's why they're still holding on. And even today, they're swallowing the fact that there won't be a pension for much longer.
I want to say it again. These reform plans are not a threat, but rather a great opportunity. They are a great opportunity, ladies and gentlemen. Three strong pillars: statutory, occupational, and private.
I don't know about you, but I could watch that all day long, over and over, how they take him down. This chancellor is so finished. And if he keeps going for another 3 years, exactly with his plan, then the CDU shouldn't be surprised if they eventually hit the 5% threshold too. Because one thing is clear, that wasn't just an attack on the working population, but at the same time also on employers. And employers, they got, I really have to say it like this, the next piece of bad news today: inflation in Germany is almost 3%. Yes, a numbers game that just doesn't add up anymore. And the highest cost, the biggest increases, you can probably guess why. In the end, the taxpayer is being, and I really have to say it like this, fattened up even more. Everything is taken away from him just so that this whole agenda can somehow survive. Why? Because it simply can't come to an agreement, because it can't serve ordinary people. Because three major powers, the SPD, Markus Söder, and Jens Spahn, have set out to topple this chancellor. And I hope, even though I don't believe it, but I hope that it will happen tomorrow rather than next week, next month, or in the coming years. However, I also believe that we urgently need a minority government here in Germany. At this point in time, snap elections are actually the worst thing that could happen to this country.